Okay. Now, what will you learn? For example, you will identify the characteristics of a good paragraph. All right. Then identify and fix 3 common issues in paragraphs, and practice also planning and writing a complete paragraph. So as you can see, it's not only theory, but you will have some practice writing, yeah, through Google Docs at the end of the workshop. Okay. So let's start with the basics. When we talk about characteristics of a good paragraph, you need to consider the 3 parts of a paragraph. Yeah, remember we are talking about academic writing. Yeah, academic and also professional writing. If we're talking about papers, for example, this also applies. Yeah, you need to have 3 components in different colors. In yellow, you see something called the topic sentence, which is a general idea of what the paragraph will be about. Okay, and as in the example, if you go to the paragraph here, I know that probably you are not from this area reflected in the paragraph, but still you can understand the main point. I'm going to read it for you. It says the capacity for interplate megathrust earthquakes to induce large number of landslides and mobilize large volumes of sediment is highlighted by the 1960 Valdivia and the 2010 Maule earthquakes. You see, so the person here is going to illustrate or show in the paragraph how these earthquakes are examples of that, or how that process happens or happened in these earthquakes. And rightly so, for this reason, the person develops this idea in the middle, right? In the middle part of the paragraph, which are the supporting sentences. Look, first, she's going to talk about the Valdivia earthquake, what happened, yeah, and how that reflects the mobilization of sediment and so on and so forth. And she goes into detail with that information, yeah, and then moves by the kind of the middle end part to talk about the Maule earthquake, yeah, which is the second example. Right? So we move from the topic sentence in yellow, from the general idea, this is what my paragraph will be about, to the middle part, to the supporting sentences. As you see on the right, yeah, the number of supporting sentences, yeah, the number of details, of course, depend on the topic, yeah. Perhaps you need, I don't know, 8 or 10 or sometimes 6 supporting sentences, depending on the main idea, right? The point is that they should help to understand the topic sentence. In this case, sorry, ¿alguien tiene el micrófono encendido? Si lo puede mutear, por favor. No sé quién será. Okay, so as I was saying, supporting sentences. What are they about? They have to do with examples, with explanations. Yeah, for example, if you're explaining a process, you have to go into detail that goes into the supporting sentences. Yeah, and actually, I would say it's the most important part of a good paragraph. Yeah, that it's well developed, well developed. Otherwise, it is not a good one, okay? And a third point that is important in supporting sentences is that you need to not only present all these explanations, but do so in a proper logical order. If you don't have order, it is very hard for the reader to understand your ideas. So here it is essential to plan and to have a good let's say a good management, or yeah, a good skill with either connectors or transition phrases, basically between ideas. Yeah, later, don't worry, I will give you more examples about how to do that. Okay, and the last part of a good paragraph would be the concluding sentence, which here you see in green. Okay, look at the green part. It says it's like as the name suggests, is something to close this piece of information, yeah, to get to a final conclusion, for example. Sometimes it's a prediction, an evaluation of what you said before, or a suggestion. But the idea is that whatever you say really closes that issue and connects to the topic sentence. So in this case, I'm going to read the concluding sentence. Look, the events, we know which events because she already talked about them, the Valdivia earthquake and Maule earthquake. The events are unevenly distributed in the study area. The majority of landslides are located in the principal Andean Cordillera and in a very constrained region near the coast of the Arauco Peninsula. For me, this is something to close it up because it sort of talks about what they have in common, yeah, what they have in common. Now, sometimes not every paragraph has a concluding sentence, yeah. Todavía hay alguien que tiene el micrófono encendido, porfa, si lo pueden apagar. I see. Yeah, so as I was saying, not every single paragraph will have a concluding sentence. Sometimes it is omitted. Why? Because perhaps what you need to explain is too complex and you need to use another additional paragraph in another part to continue the idea and then close it. You understand? So concluding sentence, it can be optional in a way, yeah? But what is absolutely obligatory would be a topic sentence because it guides the reader towards what he or she is going to read, and of course the supporting sentences because that contains the most information about what you want to say. Mm-hmm. Any questions so far? You can write in the chat if you prefer, or speak, whatever is easier. Okay, if not, we continue. We will continue discussing the parts of the paragraph, so there is a chance to practice this, okay? Now, here we have in the slide 2 paragraphs that are continuous. Yeah, it's part of a thesis. So you have a paragraph 1 and then the next paragraph. So we will see another factor here besides paragraph parts. Let's see. Well, connected to the previous slide, in terms of content, you want to make sure that it is complete and well developed. Yeah, in other words, it sufficiently explains a single idea through the topic sentence, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. Again, ya esto lo vamos a ir repitiendo esos conceptos todo el rato. No es lo único, pero lo vamos a repetir. So, in this example, focus please on the first paragraph only. First paragraph only. Según esto, it has to be complete and well developed. Veamos primero, let's see if it has a good topic sentence. La voy leyendo. The campaigns consisted of a shallow angle and a steep angle boreholes installation, with boreholes drilled in the same location but with different inclinations, as well as with with several devices. For me, this is a topic sentence. Yeah, it will be about how this process was developed, with what equipment, yeah, and all the details. And if you follow the supporting sentences, that is exactly what it is about. Again, they talk about, in the third line, the shallow angle boreholes campaign used this and these other devices. It was installed with this and this other distance, you see, and they talk about the name of the devices, etc., and how the process was carried out. Okay, so you see consistency in the topic and a lot of detail about how this was done. Okay, and nothing else, just how that process was done. And in this case, I would see in green the concluding sentence. It says the results obtained clearly show, yeah, that is like the a very good concluding sentence. This clearly shows that the proposed campaigns are technically feasible, with this installation being the most technically advantageous. Yeah. So you see, there's always a connection in terms of paragraph structure between the topic sentence in yellow and the concluding sentence in green. Yeah, if you have the concluding sentence, of course. Yeah, if you skip it, obviously it's not the case. Yeah, but in this case, it's important, the concluding sentence, because a way to build it, a way to write it and plan it is, again, why is this important? What does this data show in the end? In this case, for this person, it was really important to mention that this is proof, in a way. All these details that I'm telling you here are evidence that these campaigns work, technically speaking. Yeah. So then we have the second paragraph that continues after this one. So it says, he continues on this idea of the evidence and these advantages. Yeah, these advantages. So you see there's a connection between the two. Let's, I'll stop here and go to the second characteristic, okay? 1 second. Yeah, right. So if we focus on the second paragraph, as I said, it's going to talk about what? Can you tell me what is it going to be about? Without reading all the paragraph, only the topic sentence, the sentence in yellow, in the second paragraph. What is it about?
It's going to list and describe the advantages.
Correct, correct. Yeah, and so if that exercise was kind of easy, it means that the writer here has done a very good job, because it has created a topic sentence that is clear enough and general enough to cover everything that comes in the rest of the paragraph. Whenever I teach that topic sentences to students, I tell them that the topic sentence is a little bit like a contract, right? A contract, because you are promising, in a way, what a certain content, and you need to fulfill that. Yeah, you need to fulfill that contract or comply with the contract. If you present something else, it means that you are not fulfilling your promise. You said, no, but I was going to talk to you about this, and then you present something else. That's not all right. Okay. Yes. So as you said, advantages. Let's see. It is about advantages, that's for sure. Now, you want to remember that ideas need to be organized, okay, and presented in a logical manner, which means, no me sale, aquí está. Presenting with in a logical manner means, for example, connectors. See that I highlighted or circled first? Easy, yeah? First advantage and second advantage. Obviously, it's not always like that, because it depends how is your topic sentence. Yeah, in this case, because it's several advantages, numbers, when you are going to number aspects, is easier to plan, because it's very sequential, first, second, third. Yeah, in other cases, it's a little bit more complex, but you still need to do it. You still need some level of organization and a logical manner of presenting events. Yeah. Now, third element, it says here, is cohesion. Yeah, which means, it means several things, but in other words, it's how you link ideas. It can be from sentence to sentence inside a paragraph, and it also includes how you link one paragraph with another paragraph. Yeah, because obviously, if you're writing a thesis or a paper, paragraphs do not work in isolation. We can see paragraph structure, right, independently, but then they work together with another. So what you need to do is to connect them explicitly as much as you can, yeah, through connecting phrases. Yeah, here the connection between the two paragraphs will be between the concluding sentence of the first when he says the results show that the campaigns are technically feasible and most technically advantageous. You see the link there? So advantages would be the keyword, yeah, that the person takes in a way to develop the next. Porque vuelve al tema. He comes back to the issue of these advantages and what they are, okay, and what is the benefits and so on and so forth. So there is the link. It's a link related to the topic, yeah? Okay. Then this is very easy to remember. In terms of format, yeah, which is another level of a good paragraph, you need to remember the indentation, la sangría, yeah, the indentation, and obviously the space between one paragraph and the other, which is not a minor thing. Yeah, it's not a minor thing. I've seen some works where all the paragraphs are together, and it's a simple format rule to remember, yeah? Just one space, not anything extra. Right. Let's see. Yeah. So here's a little exercise for you. Anyone can participate through the chat or speaking. Okay. So here is a paragraph from a research paper that I took, and they talk about, I can't remember the title to be honest, but it's how they develop systems to scan prices or something. Yes, like price scanners or product scanners is something in industrial engineering. But so they're talking about here the topic eye movements in scene perceptions. Yeah, how we process how we process things. Okay, so this is the key issue. What would be the topic sentence here? Ya lo están haciendo ahí. Yeah, okay. Think about topic sentence. See if you agree or disagree with Rodrigo here in the chat. He says line 1 to 4 is a topic sentence. Agree? Okay. Anyone else? Agree. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in this case, this is a very, very good example. Yeah, because you see, it's really clear, really clear. There is a broad consensus on the following aspects of how people visually process scenes. That's it, and the literature. Yeah, so what is the, can someone say in their words, what is the paragraph going to be about? Sin leer más, porque esa es la gracia. You don't need to read more to be able to predict the content of the paragraph here. ¿Quién puede parafrasear y decir de qué se va a tratar el párrafo?
They will develop the idea of how people visually process the scenes, like the different points of how it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ahí está, bien clarito. How people process scenes, and they will probably present, as you say, different studies about what is this, how this happens. Yeah, let's see if they deliver. Yeah, si es que cumplen o no. We'll see. Okay, continue reading the supporting sentences and tell me if they deliver on what they promise. Do they explain how? Yeah, I mean, they probably do, right? I mean, they go into all these details. It says what appears as smooth as conscious eye movements. They consist of eye fixations. You will see that that is a repeated concept. Yeah, eye fixations, they talk about, you know, decreasing distance, milliseconds, and so on and so forth. And then again, by the middle, they talk about the use of fixations, serve to project a small area of the visual field into the, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm not going to say that. Do you think that this has a concluding sentence or not?
I'm not quite sure really
You're not
because
sure? Mm-hmm.
because in the end somehow it ends the idea of the importance of the eye fixations,
Mm-hmm.
but the person could even add more information or another aspect of how people visually process scenes in another paragraph. So I'm not sure.
That's, yeah, we don't know because we haven't seen the rest. Yeah, but at least, yeah,
Okay.
no, that's a good point. Let's see what Rodrigo says. Maybe as they connect things at the end with a conclusion on fixation. You see, they sort of try to wrap up at least this section, to close this section, say, okay, you know, this, all this that I'm saying, apparently this is important. You see, um, important for object identification, which is linked to the research also. Yeah, and so yeah, I would say it looks like a concluding sentence, at least for this section. Now,
Yeah,
how?
yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Was there a question?
No, no, no. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. So here is the answer. Yeah, the answer. So as you said very well, this is the topic sentence. Yeah, the middle part will be the supporting sentences and the concluding sentence. Yeah, with again this repetition of eye fixation, fixations, which is not, of course, a coincidence. It has to do with the keyword in the paragraph. Yeah, and that also helps to create cohesion. Again, this link between ideas. Yeah, because you're making sure that you remain along the same lines and you're not going in a different direction or explaining something that is unrelated. You stay in the same line of thought, line of ideas. Yeah, right. So how does this story continue? Yeah. So one sec. This is the first one we just saw. But how does it connect to other paragraphs? This is the next paragraph. Look, eye movement studies have also shown that the gist of the information, so the main part of the information about a scene, can be extracted pre-attentively and from peripheral vision during the initial fixation. And then they go into details. You see? So what I want you to notice here is not only the topic sentence, because you probably identified it, right? Like the first 3 lines, it's going to talk about how that happens, right? It's how this paragraph topic sentence connects to the previous paragraph. Yeah, so it says eye movement studies have also shown. You see, easy connector also. Yeah, just to say that it's another conclusion that we can get from these studies. You see, so the person is transitioning from one idea, from the first idea about, or yeah, in eye movement studies, to the second. And simply by adding something as short and concrete as also, you're doing the work. You're showing the cohesion or the link between paragraphs. Yeah, right. Finally, paragraph 3, after this one, it says, literally finally, yeah, eye tracking studies have shown that eye fixations, but not peripheral vision, increase memory for the fixated object. So they sort of get to the, I guess, literally this will be the final part of this section. I think it's in the literature review section. You see the connector finally, and this final line and conclusion, yeah, to proceed with the paper, right? So to finish this part, remember that what you need to try to do is not only like a good paragraph itself, but it's properly connected to other paragraphs, and which involves even more planning, because you will have to plan beforehand. Before you write, you will have to see, okay, first I'm going to develop this idea, then I have to develop this other idea in the next paragraph, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So
Yes.
in order to continue with this, for example, how many sites do you advise in order to support your ideas in each paragraph?
Oh, how many citations you mean?
Yeah, how many?
How many? It depends on what you are doing. So, for example, I don't know. Are you thinking in a particular piece of writing, like a thesis, for example?
Yeah, because I was thinking once I had the chance to read an article, and the article was with so many different sites that it was difficult to read. So the fluency of my reading, it was like clustered with different ideas and the dates and the authors'
Sure,
names
sure.
and so on.
Okay, yeah, it's a good question, by the way. Yeah, I would say two things about that. First, the number of citations it's not a unique number, because it will depend on where they appear. Thinking, for example, on a thesis or a research paper, the section where you find the most citations, esas son las citas, se llaman citations, appear in the literature review section, or state of the art, as you call it sometimes in engineering, right? Because of the purpose of the section. Because the purpose of the section is to say what has been done, what hasn't been done, okay? And so naturally, you will find more citations there. Now, individually per paragraph, I wouldn't be able to say how many, because again, it depends on your idea. So in this case, in this particular example that I'm showing here, you see, esa misma que está ahí, tiene 1, 2, 2. Sometimes, because the topic has been very widely studied, you will find, as it was probably your experience, 6 or 10, yeah? There's no definite number, but it depends on how much the topic has been studied. And also it depends on the preferences of your discipline. I would say that in science and engineering, the key aspect to consider to decide which citation to include and which one not to include, besides the topic relation, of course, would be how updated the source is. So you would prefer to use sources or citations in this case that are more recent rather than others that are older. So that can help you determine how many you need to cite, okay? And I was going to say something else. Oh, and you also said that it was rather difficult to read for you because there were so many citations. In this case, coming from or giving you like reading comprehension skills advice, skip the references. Imagine that they don't exist, especially if you see parentheses, skip parentheses, yeah? Unless you are, so that in case you want to capture the gist or the main ideas, yeah, so that your reading is more fluent. But obviously, if you are reading a second time, yeah, the second time or even third time, you want to stop, you maybe in a certain citation because you're interested in more information. So maybe you highlight it or something like that, but for a specific purpose. So my recommendation is to read more than once. And if you do the first reading, skip all the parentheses, okay? I don't know if that answers the question. Okay, so I have a couple more, like 3 more slides for you before we go into the practical aspect, okay? Because I do want you to practice, guys. Now I'm going to, pero pucha, quedó mala la animación. With the animation, you already see the answer. But anyway, try not to pay attention to that. Just read and tell me what you see, or if you agree with the issue here that I identified. Read the text and tell me what is the paragraph about. So what is the paragraph about? You can put it in the chat or you can tell me in your own words. Aquí ya decían, what characterizes an engineer? Yeah, okay. Right. Now, you probably saw that or you were able to get to that conclusion because you have all the examples here, yeah? However, imagine that this is a relatively easy paragraph because it's not technical and it's general information. But imagine that you put something like this in a thesis and about a very complex process that you work with. Would it be easy to determine the topic? Probably not, because you don't know where the writer is going or what's the point. Is it describing? Is it defending or like arguing? Let's say to support a point, you know. So you have to make, again, as a writer, you need to do the job for the reader. Yeah, so you need to create a topic sentence. Se fijan que no tiene topic sentence. It starts right away with the details. Engineers are curious, then the other and the other, but it doesn't have something that covers everything that follows. So that is a typical issue that happens, yeah, that people have no topic sentences, yeah, no topic sentences, and you must have one. The second issue, sorry, this is the answer. With a possible, obviously the topic sentence can vary according to what you want to write, but this is one suggestion in black. Although there are many types of engineers, they share these personality traits, personality characteristics. You see, as simple as that in this case. Trait 1, trait 2, and trait 3. See? Okay, let's see if the second comes in the way that yeah, sure. Okay, so read this again. Yeah, it's a repetition, but read it. I want to know impressions. ¿Qué opinan del párrafo? As it is.
Hello, Catalina.
Yes?
I'm Francisco here.
Okay.
This is particularly a good point for me because, you know, I had a lot of them. The paragraph has a lot of basic or simple sentence. It's not a complete paragraph, you know. It's not a connection. You only have short sentence, but very simple.
Very simple. Yeah, well, literally simple, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally. Yes. Thank you, Francisco. So yeah, let's see what others say as well to complement, and then we get to the discussion. It does not describe the ideas. I like that a lot. That's the point. Yeah, and I like both opinions that you give. Yeah, Francisco said it's an attempt to produce a thesis statement. Francisco Salamanca, can you explain a little bit? What do you mean? What is a thesis statement for you?
For me, it's kind of giving a brief summary of everything because of the connector, the discourse markers that they are using there.
Yeah.
So of course there are lots of ideas, but there is some need of certain connections. I don't know, discourse markers, and perhaps a little bit of more information.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, sure. Yes, because I was curious because you used the word thesis statement, which would be something different. Yeah, what, for example, if you're writing, I don't know, even a thesis in the introduction, and you're going to say what the thesis is going to be about, or what is the research aim, that will be closer to a thesis statement. So yeah, so it's a different concept, para que no se confundan los términos. Yeah, no, but I know what you mean. I think yeah, choppy is the word. Ya, sigamos, porque aquí voy a parar un poquito en español para que se entienda bien, porque esto salió desde la discusión, pero no lo tengo aquí, pero para que me sigan la idea, que igual es importante tenerlo en cuenta. Aquí se cruzan dos conceptos. Tienen razón, you are right. The key point here, the key issue is that it's underdeveloped. As you notice, it's very short, and it doesn't explain, it doesn't describe. It says, yeah, they are curious, yeah, they have critical thinking, they communicate effectively. Nice. As a summary, this will be great. Yeah, but we're thinking about academic writing where you need to be more descriptive. Ya, eso por el lado del contenido. O sea, le falta explicación a esto. Está demasiado simple en términos de explicación. El por qué, el cómo, y ejemplo. Ya, that's the thing. On the other hand, you said, sentences, the form. Ya aquí nos movemos al plano de la forma, no tanto del contenido en sí, del estilo. La forma, sentences are short. Yeah, and the key word that Rodrigo Valdez, for example, is suggesting here is choppy. Choppy es como cortado, se fijan, es como leer un telegrama. The only complex sentences, estoy hablando simple y compleja en términos gramaticales de mecánica, no de, digamos, que sea idea sencilla. En la primera, ya, the others are simple. One subject, verb combination, that's it. Ya, y el mismo estilo todo el rato. Ya, so in terms of form, yes, it's rather boring, rather choppy, sorry, and you will need to combine sentences. That is a matter of form, once again, ¿ya? Entonces, no es que sea un texto malo en la forma, podría mejorarse, sí, pero no está malo tampoco, gramaticalmente no está malo, pero en estilo es un poco tedioso, porque imagínense una tesis, están leyendo puras oraciones así, ¿ya? De nuevo, es forma, ¿ya? El contenido es otro tema. Some of you said the problem is that it doesn't have discourse markers or ideas are not connected. I disagree with you because technically speaking, the connections are done. Fíjense. Primero, bueno, faltó el first ahí. Yo pondría el first. Después, another common feature, that is a connecting phrase. No es un conector tradicional como el besides o algo, pero cumple la función de decir otra feature, ¿ya? Entonces, igual conecta con la idea anterior. Y tiene el finally, por lo tanto, hay conexión. Finally, porque viene de una segunda y de una primera, y después dice, these are some of the features. Al decir these are, estas son, está haciendo cohesión. Ese linking está, ya la conexión entre ideas está, pero el problema clave aquí, como dicen ustedes, serían dos entonces. Lack of development, no description, no explanation, and the type of sentences that the person chose to write, only simple, yeah, which is rather not the best stylistically, yeah. Solo para clarificar algunos conceptos. Yeah, so how do we fix that? Explaining. Yeah, so as you said, we don't know, for example, what critical thinking involves or what does communicating effectively mean or why are these characteristics important, yeah? So you need to explain that. So here is a suggested solution. Yeah, well, you already read the first version, but here I highlighted the explanations. Se fijan, ya se agranda el párrafo, ¿cierto? And they explain each term and why is this important. ¿Se fijan? Entonces ahí ya va mejorando la cosa. Y por supuesto, there's more variety of sentences, si se fijan. Ya, it's less choppy. Ya, it's less choppy. Bien. Qué bueno. Vamos, creo que queda uno. Ya. Okay, there's one more. Here, your job is to find the one sentence that does not belong to the paragraph's main idea, which is the issue number 3. You can tell me in the chat.
Maybe the paragraph that is wrong is this: finally, engineers and blah blah blah. Because if you say finally, it's because it's the final idea, and you have another idea at the end. Otherwise, they are ideas. Maybe I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, no, but that's a good start. That's a good start. Think about it in terms of content. And here again, for everybody, the topic sentence will tell you what fits into the paragraph and what doesn't fit. Remember, topic sentences. Although there are different types of engineers, they share these personality traits, and in general, the organization of the paragraph is, this is the trait, this is what it means, and this is why it's important. Y así se tendría que ir todo el párrafo, por cada una de las tres. Is there any sentence that does not fulfill that promise? Yeah, Rodrigo says here, the one part about university courses. Sí, pues, está colada esa oración, se fijan, y dice, for this reason, y se ve súper bien conectada como con la idea anterior, qué bonito. But it's not the purpose of the paragraph. Yeah, the purpose of the paragraph is not to say that. It's interesting, but it doesn't fit. Yeah. Y eso ahí es bien sutil. Yeah, because I've seen... when they ask me, for example, in Armadillo, or they show me their work, sometimes you have one or two sentences that are very interesting, but maybe they belong to another paragraph, but they do not belong to this paragraph, yeah, because it goes in another direction, yeah. So yeah, this idea, this sentence is not right. Yeah, again, the way to find that is, does it relate directly to the topic sentence? Ya, si no, tienen que borrarla o tienen que, o sea, definitivamente borrarla. You have to erase it, move it from there and see if it's worth exploring in another paragraph, or simply it doesn't belong anywhere and you just have to sacrifice it. Yeah, so that's an important decision to make.
Maybe that sentence might work as a concluding paragraph, as it can link to another idea in the next one.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I do agree with you. I would put it at, say, we're not thinking about a specific type of document, but yeah, definitely I would keep it. If it's too interesting and you want to keep it keep exploring, I would put in another paragraph. So and that will be the topic sentence of another paragraph, and you have the space to say, how these courses are helpful. For example, what kind of content do they teach students, what kind of skills they can develop, and what are some universities that have done this kind of courses, if it makes sense. Yeah, so yeah, good points. Any questions or doubts before we move to the practical part? Because I do want you to write. Okay, so before we move to the writing, I wanted to do a little or have a little parenthesis, because I was thinking about something that one of you said in the chat. Voy a volver un poquito al punto porque me parece interesante. Dice, the sentences are too choppy because of a lack of connectors. Por si acaso, voy a derribar ese mito. I know that in this particular paragraph, you see like 3 connectors or so, but in general terms, the number of connectors doesn't make your paragraph better. If you use more connectors, todo eso que uno le pasan, que la tablita, que, yeah, they are useful, but if you overuse them, if you use too many, it's not a good practice either. There are other ways, other strategies that you can use to link your ideas, and connectors is only one of the strategies that you use. Yeah, so in that sense, I invite you to, esto no es chiste, there is a workshop coming next week. Ya el que viene la otra semana tiene que ver con cohesive devices, que es precisamente ese tema. Cómo ustedes pueden presentar las ideas de manera lógica, organizada, con otra estrategia que no sean los conectores, ¿ya? Porque los conectores son una sola. Entonces ahí aprovecho de dejar la invitación extendida para la próxima semana. Bien, pasemos a la práctica. So, closing the workshop or the theory part. So, is there a key strategy for a good paragraph? Yes. Yeah, as I repeated several times during the workshop, you need to plan. Yeah, if you don't do it, start doing it. Yeah, because it will save you time. You need to brainstorm ideas. Me imagino que todos conocen el concepto. Tirar ideas, sea en papel, lo recomiendo en papel, yo soy más de la antigua. On paper, yeah, because it flows better. You can just see ideas out there. Once you have a set of ideas, you need to order them, yeah, because yeah, that means you outline them. Outline is like a scheme or a skeleton of what goes first, what goes second, what details are you going to say, etc. And then you write a draft. Draft es el borrador, yeah, porque la versión final ya estaría ultra revisada, so you just write a draft. Okay, so you're going to do exactly this. Yeah, if you can stay like 5 more minutes, that would be great. I have no problem. I understand if you have to leave and you don't have all the time to stay for the activity, but I think 10 to 15 minutes will be enough for this final activity. So through the chat, I will send you a link to this Google Doc. Get into the document and we'll get started. So let me get out of here. So this is a document. Vayan ingresando y bien, vayan leyendo la tarea. Dice lo que tienen que hacer. Use what you learned in the workshop and write a paragraph to a first year student. Supongo que muchos ya no están en primero y si están no importa, pero piénsenlo desde la experiencia que ya han tenido hasta ahora en la universidad. A paragraph that gives 3 recommendations for a successful university experience. Pongan el nombre, no es necesario que pongan el apellido, ¿ya? Y el outline es súper importante. This is only an example. Por ejemplo, digo ya, first study a week in advance. I don't know, maybe more. Yeah, and then make sure you explain it. No es que escriban todo, el outline es puro punteo nomás, ¿ya? Cada uno lo hace a su manera, pero tiene que haber algo aquí al medio, ¿ya? Para que se note que planearon y después el párrafo, ¿ok? Get to work, you have 10 minutes. So, yeah, sure, I understand that many of you have to go. Just to finish up, I will share the material with you where you can have access also to the information, and if you want to schedule an appointment, yeah, for a sort of a specific one-to-one consultation on your writing and also oral skills, by the way, in English. I work every Wednesday from 9 to 5. And you can schedule an appointment in a form. Yeah, that it's the link is in the PowerPoint. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed the session, that it is useful. And if you need any help, just contact us at Armadillo Lab. Sure. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for the attendance. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
No problem.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Have a
Bye.
nice
Thank you
day.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hi.